was getting ready to say I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know what the hell is going on. I was worried about the Boston Celtics or whatever, but I'm a bit preoccupied. Because I just saw that outfit that Kendrick Perkins is having, that he's got on right now. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know what prison cell he just came from, but evidently he's made it to First Take. There's a lot to discuss based on that outfit alone that Kendrick Perkins is wearing. Lord have mercy. Is he trying to be something we don't know about? Hell, that's even wilder than Jason Tatum looked last night. First Take in the house. Let's go.
It's the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Chef Curry starting to cook. He's hotter than fish grease.
This team in green and white hangs around.
Oh, so much Steph Curry. Wild comeback here for the Celtics. Horford for the lead. Boston up by 3.
Thing about the Celtics, there's not one guy you can point to that had a hand in winning this ball game.
The Celtics take Game 1 of the 2022 NBA Finals.
Game 1 is in the books, and I am crewed up. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into First Take. That is Tim Legler. Good to see you. It's been a minute. Stephen A. from the Bay Area, and Perk in his getup will join us in just a second.
You know, Molly, Tim Legler, it's good to see you. Molly, what the hell's going on? What you doing with your nightgown on for the morning First Take? What's going on? What's going on? Molly? I'm just wondering. I mean, what's going on? I mean, it looks very nice in the whole bit, but I'm just saying silk and all of that. We rocking silk in the morning. That's how it looks.
This is.
I'm just wondering. I mean, it looks silky.
Time out. You're already talking too much. This is, first of all, where is your blazer?
Right.
That's the first thing. Okay, where is your blazer?
I can explain.
Hold on, because you just talked for about 30 seconds straight. Second of all, I am in a blazer dress. This is not a nightgown.
Is that a blazer?
This is a blazer dress. When I stand up, you will see.
And all of that stuff.
No, it is a full blazer with buttons. Okay. You see the shoulders. Okay. This is not nightwear. Okay. Where's your jacket?
I'm just saying.
Where's your jacket? Because this is like Game 1. It was Game 1 of the Finals. I thought you'd dress up today.
It was wrinkled, and I couldn't come on the air.
Oh, come on.
Blazer. So
come on.
I just said, you know.
You got to get the Downy spray on. The spray on, man. It fixes the wrinkles.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'll get one of those blazers you're wearing, Molly. How about that? Let's go.
Don't hate. We know the Warriors like to turn it up in the third. Well, the Celtics matched that energy in the fourth and then some. The Celtics outscored the Warriors 40-16 in the fourth quarter to turn a 12-point deficit after 3 into a 12-point win. Boston's plus 24 scoring margin matched the largest in any quarter in finals history and was the best in any fourth quarter. Steph had 34, 5, and 5 in the Game 1 loss in the Bay, but you can't shake Steph Curry.
Not ideal, but believe in who we are, how we deal with adversity. Excuse me. How we responded all year, how we responded in the playoffs after a loss. So learned a lot from that fourth quarter. Obviously, they made a lot of shots. Seemed like, I think they didn't miss until deep into the fourth.
That's kind of who we've been all year. Tough grinders, resilient group that we can always know we can rely on our defense to kind of buckle down when needed. Impressive against a really elite scoring team.
They hit 21 threes, and Marcus Smart, Al Horford, and Derek White combined for 15 of them.
Okay, again, let me reiterate the numbers from the fourth quarter last night. It was as the Celtics outscored the Warriors by 24 points on their home floor. That included a 17-0 run at one point of the quarter. Only the 2003 Spurs had a bigger run in the finals game in the last 50 years. So, gentlemen, in his first finals game, Al Horford had a team-high 26 points. Today, he turns 36 years old. Okay, we got to pause. Okay. What is happening? Did you go to Alcatraz?
What the hell is that?
I don't even know what is happening.
Motley, I'm telling you, look, they reopened Alcatraz because they had to find room to put the Golden State Warriors in the place where they wouldn't be bothered. Because you know what happened last night? Bam! They got the handcuffs put on in the fourth quarter. 16 points in the fourth quarter. Molly, you don't even have to tee me up. I'm ready already. Listen, this is what happened. People got to talking about, the Golden State Warriors and how much experience they had and all this. And I said, listen, the Celtics are going to win game one. And you know why the Celtics won game one? Because let me tell you what experience is. Experience is going against the defending champs, being down 3-2, having to go win a game 6 on the road and win a game 7 at home to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. Experience is losing the game 6 in the Eastern Conference Finals, winning the game 7 on the road to advance to the finals. That's experience. Experience is being down by 15 points going into the fourth quarter or 10 double figures going into the fourth quarter in your first finals appearance and walking it down. Yes, Steph Curry had a beautiful first quarter, 21 points. I get all that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to this. Offense will win you games, but defense will win you championships. We can talk about the three-point shots that the Boston Celtics made last night in the fourth quarter, which was very necessary. The ball movement was beautiful, but they held the Golden State Warriors to 16 points. 16. Put these on them.
Stephen A., I don't know about you, but are you having a hard
handcuffs.
time concentrating on what he's saying? Because I am.
Yes.
I need to know, is that a
That's exactly.
onesie?
That's exactly. I don't know if it's.
Is that a onesie?
It's like it's
what is
like
that?
it's like a cross between Mr. T and the A Team, or Martin and Martin Lawrence and
Whatever,
Eddie Murphy
whatever,
in life.
whatever.
You know, I mean, I'm like,
Whatever.
listen, my brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that it threw me off. I mean, you don't expect to just to have that blasted on your screen at 10 in the morning. It threw me the hell off. But I'm here with you. I'm here with you. Be you. You deserve it because, like you said, you got those handcuffs. It is apropos. I get where you're coming from. Kendrick Perkins, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just going to focus on something else, bro. I'm going to focus on the fact that the Golden State Warriors could only make 7 shots in the fourth quarter. I'm going to focus on the fact that after 21 points and 6 threes in the first quarter, Steph Curry was held to 13 points. I'm going to focus on the fact that Klay Thompson had a relatively pedestrian game, and Jordan Poole was completely, utterly rattled. Everybody was up in his mug. It was Smart. It was Pritchard. It was Brown. Whoever it was, Jordan Poole could not do anything. Absolutely nothing. Now, obviously, those could all be attributed to Boston's defense. So I'm in no way trying to disagree with you. I'm just saying to you that my focus is on, it's like, damn. I went from looking at Golden State winning this series in 7 games to actually saying, I suspect they will, but how the hell are you going to win games in this series? How are you going to pull this off? You try to go into the interior. You got Robert Williams blocking shots. You sit up there and you try to key on Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Al Horford hitting open jump shots. Derek White coming off the bench hitting shots. I'm just saying, we're talking about Boston's defense, sure. But let's understand that if Derek White, Tim Legler, and Al Horford and Marcus Smart are going to shoot that way, Golden State doesn't have a chance. They don't have a chance. You can't have role players shooting like that and expect the Golden State Warriors to win. That's what I walked away thinking. It scared the living hell out of me.
Yeah, listen, Steve Kerr had some sound after the game. He said, basically, my first gut reaction is they played a hell of a fourth quarter. And I'm sitting there saying, no, they didn't play a hell of a fourth quarter. They played perfect basketball. Perfect basketball. You could go and look at every game played in the NBA this season. You would have a difficult time finding a better 12 minutes put together on both ends of the floor than what Boston did in the fourth quarter of that game. And it was, look, guys stepped up, made shots. I thought Golden State's offense got pushed further and further out. They did get away a little bit from what they do. There was no guard screen action. There was no cutters. Everything was pushed out on the perimeter. I think they started to sense, hey, man, they're scoring every time down the other end. I thought they tried to hit the home run a little bit too quickly. They didn't do the things they did in the first 3 quarters. Listen, you cannot take anything away from Boston. But what they did was win a road game, and this is their 8th road win, by the way, in the postseason, which is incredible.
8-2.
Incredible. They've won 8 road games already with 6 more games potentially to play in the finals. But here's the thing. I expected both teams to win a road game in this series, which is why I ultimately picked the Warriors in 7. I think they're both going to win road games. And it just so happens Boston did it in game 1, and they turned it around in such a dramatic way, guys. I was sitting with my mouth open in the fourth quarter going, what exactly in the hell am I watching right now that this game turned that dramatically after Golden State completely established control in the third quarter? So a lot of things that Golden State can clean up. It's going to be a tough film session. If I'm Steve Kerr, I'm only watching the fourth quarter. That's all I want to watch. Let's watch this quarter, particularly defensively, and some of the mistakes they were making and not getting the shooters. Those are where the adjustments are going to have to come from Golden State because Boston bombed them out in the fourth quarter, and that just can't happen, or Golden State can't win the series.
See, what I saw in this game was trust. What I saw was Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have trust in the others. The Golden State Warriors did a great job of loading up on Jason Tatum last night. He had 13 assists. So you know what that's going to do for Game 2? Now all of a sudden in Game 2, everybody on the Golden State Warriors is now going to respect Al Horford. They're going to respect Derek White, which is now going to open up driving lanes and driving gaps and give Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown those one-on-one isolations. Now let me get to Jordan Poole for a second. Throughout this entire playoffs, Jordan Poole has been what? The third option to Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Meaning when he goes into ball games, he's primarily guarded by somebody that's not really considered a defender. See, when you're dealing with this Celtic team right here, this team that got this depth at the perimeter for its defensive prowess, you can't hide no more. So they have about 6 or 7 guys that are capable of sliding their puppies on the Celtics. So Jordan Poole, I don't think this is just a game 1, just him having a poor night. He is going to struggle throughout this entire series because of the depth that the Celtics have on the defensive side of things.
Kendrick Perkins, Tim Blake, let me throw this at y'all, okay? Let me ask y'all this question. Because one of the things that I believe you cannot do against Boston, you can't dribble the ball too much. Jordan Poole is guilty of that. You are not going to be effective against the Boston Celtics trying to break them down off the dribble. It's not going to work. They're like piranhas. They'll come down on you. They'll suffocate on you. They'll swarm you, and they'll do it quickly. You got to catch and shoot. You got to have spacing. You got to distribute the basketball. You got to do those things. I thought with Jordan Poole, entirely too much dribbling. And one of the things Magic Johnson pointed out during the game, he came up with us at halftime. He was there for a few minutes. First quarter. In the first quarter, Magic Johnson comes up on the set, fellas. He's sitting right next to me. He said, Stephen A., look at Golden State. I said, what? He said, all 5 guys have their hands on their hips. They're tired. They're tired after the first quarter. He said, Boston's going to get up in you. They know they're bigger. They know they're more physical, and they're going to dare you to withstand that. He said, you combat that, you've got to be selfless. You've got to move the basketball because the more you dribble, the more energy you're expending, and that's playing right into their hands. And sure enough, that's exactly what the Golden State Warriors did, especially a Jordan Poole. And I'm looking at, listen, my belief is Golden State's chance to win this series, and why I picked them to win this series is because of Steph, Klay, and Jordan Poole. And I said, 2 of the 3 have to get off. All 3 of them didn't get off after the first quarter. You got no chance of beating Boston if that happens, in my opinion.
And I think for me, what you said early on, Stephen A., you were 100% right. At no point in that game did Jordan Poole look comfortable. He didn't look comfortable. And so he's gonna now have 2 days of film sessions, another walkthrough before game 2. He's gonna look at that film. He's not going to recognize who he was. And I know the Celtics defense had a lot to do with it, but mindset also does. He did not come into that game with an aggressive mindset. Look, I don't know if part of it was because Steph got rolling to such an extent early, it was almost like a deferential mode, like, okay, it's Steph's night. No, man, that's not who you are. You had a splash this year in this league. You established yourself as a player, and he looked tentative. He looked timid.
But Tim,
he didn't look like he was thinking about scoring, and it was an afterthought, and that's not who he is. Yeah.
To both of y'all, Tim, I haven't seen Jordan Poole look like Jordan Poole since the Denver series. Floor is y'all's.
Yeah, look, you're right. He hasn't been as good as he was in the regular season. I agree. I think there's been moments since then. He's had moments and spurts in games. Hasn't put it together to the extent that he did in the regular season. He's relegated to just another dude. And this is a guy, I'm with you. The reason I picked the Warriors, because I said they ultimately, despite the great defense of the Celtics, they have too many weapons. They have too many answers for what you're going to throw at them. And if Jordan Poole is going to play like that and Klay Thompson is going to struggle to that extent, no, I'm dead wrong. Boston's defense is going to win this series. So I just expect a bounce back from both of those guys to supplement what Steph Curry is going to give you, and they just didn't do it last night.
Go ahead, KP.
Yeah, but how can you expect a bounce back when the personnel is not changing? Okay, you put the defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, on Steph Curry. And then all of a sudden, you still have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to guard a Jordan Poole and a Klay Thompson. Both of these guys are battle-tested. Again, they went through Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, two of the most skilled guys to ever play the game of basketball. And then all of a sudden, they was tested by Giannis Antetokounmpo. Then all of a sudden, we saw what they had to go against for us in the Miami Heat series. But I'm looking at it, and I'm like, the personnel is not changing for Game 2. So at the end of the day, he's still going to have to line it up with those same guys he's seen in Game 1. They are not going anywhere. And then if you want to take them out the game, we saw what Al Horford and Grant Williams is capable of doing. They tried to go at Peyton Pritchard. He may be the smallest guy on the floor, but because of the presence that the Boston Celtics have established, he follows their identity. He's not backing down from you. I don't see it happening.
Y'all can call me crazy, and I'll end the segment by saying this, Tim and KP. You got to guard them straight up. When Jaylen Brown can do what he did to start off the fourth quarter, when they can start off the fourth quarter hitting 7 straight threes, when they're coming at you like that, guess what? Boston's sending a message, you can't leave any of us open. So now what you have to do is force them to make contested shots and risk them giving it to you by getting into the lane and scoring that way. Because that's better than them bombing open threes all over the place that they have proven they can make. They were down 14 in the third quarter and were up 14 in the fourth quarter. We could talk the 2017-0 run, but at the end of the day, there was a 28-point turnaround inside of 12 minutes. We can't ignore that. Golden State, look, they better win Game 2. They better win Game 2.
Yeah, and it was certainly surprising who got hot in the fourth. All right, so with the Game 1 stunner, the Celtics are now favored to win a record 18th NBA title. The winner of Game 1 has gone on to win the series 71% of the time. Boston has won 13 titles after winning Game 1, while the Warriors had won 13 straight Game 1s at home under Steve Kerr before the loss last night. So now that we've seen these teams face off, should the Celtics be favored now, Legs?
No question they should be favored now. I mean, there's no doubt. Listen, they went in, they stole Game 1. They've got home court now. And I thought this was a coin flip series going in. Ultimately, I gave the advantage of Golden State, who was undefeated at home in the postseason, getting it back to their floor for a Game 7. That's ultimately why I picked them. But for me, it was that close. The margin is razor thin here. So now that you've stolen the game in this fashion, this dominant in the fourth quarter, yeah, you'd be foolish not to think now that the Boston Celtics are the favorites. All I'm going to say is Golden State is not a team that's going to go away. And I hear what you're saying about matchups and the personnel's not changing. But what can change, clearly, is you can clean up. Listen, there was half a dozen times in the fourth quarter they overreacted to penetration. They overreacted to Brown and Tatum, and they had too many guys flooding to the lane with too great a distance to get back to the three-point line. That is correctable. Offensively, they can go look at the third quarter. They can look at the start of the game. They can say, listen, look at the ball movement, the player movement, the guard screening action, the cuts, the slips, making Boston chase and communicate. How many mistakes did Boston make in the first quarter just in communication because of the way Golden State was moving the ball screens, the guard screening action. That disappeared in the fourth quarter. So there are things Golden State is going to address, and I think they're too good a team to go down 2-0, losing the first two at home. I think they win game 2, and now look, the burden is on them. Can you go win a road game in Boston? That's what it's going to come down to, and if they can, then all of a sudden Golden State will be the favorite again. But for now, absolutely, Boston should be favored from this point on because they did what they had to do. They stole the first game.
Okay. Go ahead, Kim.
Well, Legs, this is why I disagree with you at, right? I understand the movement of the offense in the first quarter, but I also understand the nerves and being nervous coming out into the NBA Finals. The Boston Celtics had a lot of brain farts that we usually don't see, like Steph Curry, guys sagging back in the pick and roll, not being up, knowing that they probably went over that and shoot around, things to that nature. And what happened? They adjusted in the second quarter, and Steph Curry had 0 points. See, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And what we're forgetting is that going into halftime, the Boston Celtics were up 2 points after being down double figures in the first half. Then all of a sudden, Golden State came and made a run in the third quarter, and the Boston Celtics walked it back down again in the time that it mattered the most in the fourth quarter. The Boston Celtics just have this tendency, and they have this identity that they could go on runs by getting stops. They're getting stops. And so when I look at the ball movement, right, when I look at guys knocking down shots, I mean, they were wide open shots. They were passing up good shots to get great shots. And with that being said, I think the Celtics have another level to take. Jason Tatum didn't shoot the ball extremely well. I could count 3 times at least. He was at the top of the key with his feet set for wide open threes, and he just didn't hit them. It was one point where he airballed the three-point shot in the first quarter. He wasn't the best version of himself. What I'm saying is, just like we think the Golden State Warriors could give more, the Celtics can too. And one more point, Stephen, and I'm done. Draymond Green is going to have to score the ball against the Boston Celtics. He was 2 for 12 last night. They're going to make the adjustment and dare him to beat them. He's going to have one of those remember the time moments where he scored 20 points in the game in order for them to win this series. I guarantee you.
Well, let me talk to you, Escape from Alcatraz. Let me talk to you for a second here on a couple of matters. Number one, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with anything that you said, and Tim Legler was making some points. So let's just answer the question directly. You damn right, Boston should be the favorite right now after that performance last night and the kind of hole that they put Golden State in. Let me get direct in what I'm about to say. The Boston Celtics cannot win Game 2. And we expect the Golden State Warriors to win this series. They can't win Game 2. If the Golden State Warriors go down 0-2, they're not beating the Boston Celtics for the next 5 games. I think it's safe for us all to assume that. That's just too much to ask against a team as elite as they are defensively. I just don't expect that kind of breakdown from the Boston Celtics. Number 3, I will say this to you, KP. When we highlight what all the things that you just articulated about how Boston could step up their game, here's where I respectfully disagree. I don't believe all of those dudes would get the opportunity to do what they did if Jason Tatum was on. I think there's an exchange that took place. Because Jason Tatum wasn't on, he became a distributor, which is why he had the 13 assists. Those dudes were making shots. Remember, he took 17 shots. Jason Tatum's good for 25 shots when he's rolling, as he should be, because he's the superstar for that team. So it's not that I'm not saying that those guys wouldn't be effective. I'm simply saying if Jason Tatum is making shots, he's passing the ball less. There's less opportunities for them to do what they did. It's just that it would be him doing it instead of them. If it's not him, it's them. If it's not them, it's him. But Jaylen Brown has shown up as well, and they got 2 stars that you got to contend with. It's just that simple. In the end, your last point about Draymond Green, we got to bring this up about Draymond Green. All-world defensive player, orchestrator, your point forward, distributor of the basketball savant. Could you imagine how lethal the Golden State Warriors would be if Draymond Green was a reliable perimeter shooter? Think about that, because you couldn't leave him open. And then that would open the floodgates. Well, yeah, years ago, he would have been the MVP of the finals that they lost to Cleveland the way he played in that Game 7. Remember that? He got ejected. I'm sorry. He got suspended for Game 5. Came back in Game 6. They lost to Cleveland. Game 7, he played lights out. Was absolutely spectacular. And I believe in Dre that when you put the pressure on him and you point to him and you say it's you, if you don't do this, they gonna lose. I think that he'll make sure he does his job. But he has to because Boston is daring him to do so. I also think Gary Payton Jr., what the hell you got him activated for the game and not play him? The big boy that they got coming off the bench. I always forget how to pronounce his name. But, this brother here can hit some points. He can hit some threes. You need size, but you need an offensive threat that's playing your 4, your 5, because Boston's going to key on the guards. If you Steve Kerr, you got to take these kind of chances. And also you got to play a defender like Kuminga because his athleticism and his length might help you on the defensive end of the floor as well. I think that there's a lot that Steve Kerr could do, but they got to do it, man, because Boston is no joke.
They better respect the others. That's what they better do. They better respect the others. They better respect Big Al Horford like he didn't outplay Giannis in that Game 4 on the road in Milwaukee when he went for 26 or 28 points. Yeah, in the fourth quarter. See, here's the thing. The thing that I recognize about Jason Tatum, I believe it was Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I believe he had about 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. He shot the ball 21 times in that game. See, Jason Tatum, Stephen A. and Legs, he's growing right before our very eyes. See, just because they call your play doesn't mean it's your shot. And he's starting to get that. He's starting to make guys around him better. The great Kevin Garnett used to tell me, hey, man, when you see a franchise guy, watch him and see if he's able to get his 20 or 30 and get people around him 10 to 15 points. That's what we're seeing out of Jason Tatum. This is why we see this team being so lethal. Let's not act like we didn't see Grant Williams in a crucial Game 7 light it up against the Milwaukee Bucks at the crib. Listen, I'm telling y'all, man, this Boston Celtics team is real. Coach Ime Udoka holds these guys accountable. He has put together a hell of a game plan. He has his rotations down. He rolled with his bench in that fourth quarter last night. Peyton Pritchard played 8 minutes in the fourth quarter. You talk about trust. Game 1 of the finals, he played 8 minutes in the fourth. Hey, look, I'm telling you, we don't talk about Ime Udoka enough and the phenomenal job he's been doing in this postseason for his adjustments
one of the best coaches.
and rotation.
He's Coach of the Year candidate to me. We've talked about him enough.
To that point, what Perk just said, were you surprised by who stepped up for Boston?
No, I wasn't surprised by who it was. I was surprised by the extent. I mean, look, Derek White has been great for them throughout the postseason. Al Horford's been fantastic. He's turned back the clock. This might be the best I've seen Al Horford play offensively in his career. So I'm not surprised that they had moments, but to get hit with that kind of a barrage by the role players, spotting up, knocking down those kinds of shots on this stage in this moment, to that extent, yes, it was shocking. I was sitting there in the fourth quarter. I mean, my mouth was open like, what am I watching right now? That simultaneously, not only is Boston unstoppable on offense, but on the other end, Golden State is being completely taken out of everything they like to do. So yes, I was absolutely surprised, especially the way Golden State played in the third quarter. They established control, which they typically do in the third quarter. Going into the fourth, man, they looked like they were in total control. And here's the thing. They're also an elite defensive team, and I'm thinking you get a double-digit lead, even if your offense bogs down. Your defense should be able to keep you at least in the moment so that then your offense can win it if it's a one-possession game late. Their defense was being gutted at the exact same time that they couldn't get anything going on the other end of the floor. There's no other word to describe it. It was dominance on the part of the Boston Celtics, and you've got to give all of those dudes credit because they were ready when the ball came to let it fly and knock it down, and they fed off each other. You could just see the confidence building, and I got news for you. When Boston left the arena last night to go back to the hotel, I guarantee you they're looking at each other's eyes. You know what they're saying to themselves? Those dudes can't beat us. That's what Boston was telling themselves when they left there last night, doing what they did in the fourth quarter.
I can tell you exactly what they were saying because I was right near them when they were walking off the court. 1 down, 3 to go. 1 down, 3 to go. And 3 more. 3 more. That's what they were saying.
Hey, Perk, you got a tour to give, don't you? Aren't you the tour guy?
No, Perk, I got one question for you before we roll.
No, they
Real quick.
reopened it. It's not a museum no more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perk, yes or no question. Is that a onesie? Like, does that go all the way to the feet?
No, Molly, it's not a onesie.
Oh, it's just a top.
It's not a onesie.
It's just a zip up
You know
top.
they don't make onesies at 5X. You know that.
I appreciate the uniqueness. Kendrick Perkins just promised me one thing. You will never show up on national TV with that again. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
Hey,
Don't tell Perk what
I'm
to
so
do.
secure in myself.
He's just getting started. All right, we'll leave it there. When we come back here at First Take, Kevin Durant. KD had some choice words for our very own Stephen A. Smith.
Visualized because people wanted to be like Mike.
Okay, so that was Stephen A. this past Wednesday. Yesterday, Kevin Durant had something to say about it, tweeting this. My theory is guys like Steve, Skip, Shannon have changed the game for the worse. Players like Stephen and Michael can only push the game forward. Kendrick Perkins still here with us. Stephen A., obviously I'll come to you first. The floor is yours, sir.
Go ahead, Kendrick. Oh, you talking about me, Molly?
Yeah, I wanted you to start, just because he called
okay,
you out
okay.
specifically, your name.
Okay, let me say this, guys. Good Lord have mercy. When will they learn, Kendrick Perkins? When will they learn? You know, I don't really want to bring his name up, but I really have no use for him. But months ago and weeks ago, you had a guy like Stephon Marbury. Goes on video, social media, not eating Vaseline this time. He just had something to say. And he sat up there and said, I should be defunded. I shouldn't be allowed from talking back. I should be defunded. I shouldn't be allowed to talk basketball. What he left out was that he was the executive producer of the docuseries A Kid from Coney Island, which was about his life. And who did they call to talk to? That would be me. But I'm the same dude that shouldn't be allowed to talk basketball, except for when you wanted to promote your docuseries and then you want me to talk basketball. Kevin Durant comes out, and obviously there's no comparison between the two. But Kevin Durant comes out, and he sits up there and says, people like me make the game worse. Well, Kevin Durant and his company, executive producers, this new docuseries coming out, New York City Point Guards. Who they call? That would be me. So just from a fact-based purpose, it's amazing that no one cares about what I have to say, but they call me to say something. I find that to be a bit inconsistent, dare I say, Kendrick Perkins, Molly. I find that to be a bit inconsistent, but that's neither here nor there. I'm going to be very respectful because I happen to love Kevin Durant. I think he's the best player on the planet when healthy. And I actually think he's a very good guy. Bit truculent with his attitude and always got attitude about somebody. I mean, it's just unnecessary sometimes. But I still got love for him. There's nothing he can really say to me that's going to make me attack him or whatever. I think he's a phenomenal basketball player, a future Hall of Famer, a champion, a two-time NBA Finals MVP. And I'm always have love for him no matter what. The only reason I feel the need to address this comment, Kendrick Perkins, is because where did it come from? When I reached out to KD, he didn't want to answer that question, and that's his prerogative. And what he and I exchange between each other is our business. But I will tell you this. All I said was that Michael Jordan was so phenomenal that people focused on marketing and promoting the individual as opposed to team. And that didn't necessarily help the game of basketball to a certain degree because on many, many occasions we've lamented the absence of team basketball. That's all I was trying to say. Nothing more. I don't understand where it came from, but I will tell you this. Fellas need to get over it. Because as I said yesterday on Twitter, and I'll say again on national television, the Stephen A. Smiths of the world are not going anywhere. I'm here now. There'll be hundreds, if not thousands, that will follow. These guys don't want to talk. They don't want to be accountable. Who the hell are we to tell them anything? So watch the game, shut the hell up, and enjoy their greatness and make sure they get paid their money without giving any commentary whatsoever. You want to control the narrative all the damn time. You're not doing it. You don't get to get rid of us. We here, we're going to be here. Get over it because we're not going anywhere. I'm not talking about me specifically as an individual. I'm talking about the collective me, Kendrick Perkins, Ryan Clark, Swagoo, Orlovsky, and everybody else in between, and Tim Leglin, and J.J. Redick, and all of these other guys. We're not going anywhere. And the last point, Kendrick Perkins, before I give it to you, I've repeatedly said this to players because I got many, many cats in the NBA, NFL, and beyond the world of professional sports that I'm very, very cool with. I got them on speed dial. They got me on speed dial. We talk all the time. They know I'm not talking about them. But for those like Kevin Durant or Kyrie or somebody else that don't want to talk, please remember something. I get paid to talk about you. I don't get paid to talk to you. I don't ever have to speak to any of y'all again in life. And I still get to do my job. Look at what I see and comment about it. That's what I get to do. Remember that. When in reality you actually do, because when you've had projects you wanted to push forward, you called me to participate. It wasn't the other way around. I'm gonna leave it at that, Kendrick Perkins. Floor is yours.
You know what's crazy to me is this. The crazy part about it is that they pick what they want to attack you with, or they pick on how they want to address you. Forget the 100 times you done praised a certain individual. You know what I mean? Like it's a couple situations with me, far as even my good brother Russell Westbrook. I have been standing up for Russell Westbrook since I got into television. I criticized him a few times this season, which was warranted, and all of a sudden I turned my back on him. Or, even with Kevin Durant. You talk about him, we talk about him being one of the greatest scorers of all time, and then the one time you criticize him or the one time you say something that he don't like, he come at you. But so you didn't even criticize him. But let me tell you what's going on right now. Okay? They have this new little wave of things that's going on that, quote unquote, you have to get the basketball player approval in order to be able to speak the game of basketball. Well, who the hell are you to tell me what I can and cannot say, or who the hell are them to tell Stephen A. what the hell he cannot say or what he can say? See, that's the problem that we have. You do not have to play the game of basketball or played it at the highest level to be able to talk the game of basketball. If you're a student of the game, you are a student of the game. I know a lot of guys that are in front office roles right now that are head GMs in the NBA that didn't play the game of basketball, but they are allowed to evaluate talent. And some of those guys, most of those guys, are very damn good at their damn job. Who are us to judge them? Who are us to say, how did you get this role when you never touched a basketball in your life? No, that's not how it goes. So at the end of the day, listen, I wouldn't dig too deep into it. Stephen A., I know you got tough skin, you ain't worried about it. But look, this is who KD is, okay? He come and he goes. He talked to me in 2 months or 3 months straight, and then he put me on the block list, and I block his ass right back because I don't give a damn. Because what I came to realize is this. I got 5 people that I got to approve, right? That I got to make sure is good. That's my wife and 4 children. Everybody else, I don't give a damn how they feel about Big Perk, and you shouldn't either. So Carry on.
Well, you know me. You know me. Listen, I'm going to answer what needs to be answered, and I'm going to leave it at that. But like I said, I got love for KD. I think that KD is a great player, and I think that he's a great person. He don't get in no trouble. He don't engage in no nonsense. He's all about hooping and all that stuff. A little bit sensitive at times, whatever. You know how I feel about his mama. I love me some Mama Durant. So I mean, I'm not going to disrespect this brother. I'm not going to disrespect this brother. But at the end of the day, it just amazes me the heightened level of sensitivity. And the reason why I think it's incredibly important to point this out, I don't give a damn whether I speak to folks or not. They act like, you know what, if you don't talk to us, you hurting your feelings. You know the stupidity of some, not most, not all, but you know the stupidity of some of these modern athletes, and they don't realize this? The fact that you don't talk to us and the fact that you speak on social media actually makes our job easier because we're going to have content to discuss no matter what. You don't get to circumvent and get around folks talking about particular subjects. Apparently, it's the level of intellect that they have that never registers in their mind. If you perform, we get to talk about you. If you talk, we get to talk about you. What's up?
Stop, Stephen A. The game is to be sold, not told. Don't give up too much.
I'm just saying. The point that I'm making is that
don't give up too much.
I feel you. It is what it is, but I want to make sure that everybody understands. The brothers, the sisters, the professional athletes, the college athletes, all of that stuff. I'm going to support you and call it like I see it, but please be clear. We don't exchange Christmas gifts. We don't have Thanksgiving dinner together. I could give less than a damn if those who don't want to talk to me never, ever talk to me in life. I assure you, I will not lose 1 second of sleep over it. And I'm going to still come on the air and do my job. And that's talk about your performance, your legacy, your reputation as it pertains to the game. I ain't interested in your personal life. As long as you ain't in the police blotters, it's none of my business, okay? But I am going to do my damn job. And if you walk right by me, if you don't even whisper at me, I could assure you I will give less than a damn. Be clear about that.
No, we know you have thick skin. Can I just say something really quickly, guys, before we go to break? How I took it when I saw those tweets and stuff, obviously no one really thinks we're being facetious when we're asking the question, and it was a specific angle, that the game's worse because of Michael Jordan, his airness, or Steph Curry. All right, and so no one's serious. It wasn't like a literal question in that sense. But I thought, and I don't know KD. I've never met KD. You guys obviously would know. I just thought he was joking. I didn't think that was serious. I thought he was just kind of joking. Like,
he wasn't joking. He wasn't joking, especially.
I thought he was just like having fun with it.
When you're attached to certain people in your life that tend to look down on others, you understand? Eventually, that has a contagious effect, and you'll start looking down on others because you're this multi-million. I mean, we talk about LeBron approaching $1 billion. Let me tell you something. KD far from broke. This brother has established and accomplished great, great things in his life, and he's living up here. And he ain't the type of person that looks down on people. That's not his nature. But in the same breath, he is around some people who do. And you never know what kind of effect that could have on you in the moment. I don't know, but the point is, I don't care. The only reason I address the subject on this show, Molly, is for one reason. And you need to know this, Molly. Not that you don't know it, but I'm going to reiterate this in front of you. I know people don't like to hear this. Let me brag about us for a second. We've been number one for 10 years straight. We're number one right now. And as far as I'm concerned, we gonna stay number one so long as I'm here. Just like you can't take away his 2 championships and his 2 MVPs, you can't take away the fact that First Take is the standard morning show in the United States of America. By the way, they air us in other parts of this world. By the way, they got a First Take in China where they're airing me out there in China. You better ask somebody. We ain't going no damn place, whether you like it or not. You don't get around First Take, baby. We here. We here. And I ain't talking about the Knicks. I'm talking about First Take. Yeah. We here. Get the hell over it.
On that note, you know what I want to say to everybody?
Carry on.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for watching. All right, Game 1 is in the books. What went wrong for the... What a week it was. I mean, do we have fun on this show or what? Let's be honest.
I do have a slight critique, and Molly would appreciate this, Big Perk. There was a point where they said earlier this week that Molly was more correct than us. And Molly wanted that in the montage, and they left it out. So Molly, I mean, I personally think that Hunter Kendrick Perkins, Antoine Lewis, James Dunn, Sam Tanucci, they left it out. Those are the name of the producers of the show, y'all.
I actually perfectly remember that debate when I had much more poignant points than you. That was when Doggy and Paul Feinbaum were on the show. And I had to teach you about the Jimbo and Saban situation. Thank you for remembering.
I got you. See how I remember. See how I look out for you. See how I look out for you.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
If I was you, though, Stephen A., it would have been in there, but I'm not. Adam Silver said the NBA is considering switching the voting process for all NBA selections, where voters select the 15 best players regardless of position. Do you like this?
I love it. Mad props to J.J. Redick, who had mentioned it, and I completely agree with him. It should be just the top 15 players in the league. It shouldn't be by position. It should be positionless. I totally agree, and I'm proud that Adam Silver, yet again, is showing why he's a great commissioner, taking this into consideration.
All right, we know the Warriors like to turn it up in the third. Well, the Celtics matched that energy in the fourth and then some. The Celtics outscored the Warriors 40-16 in the fourth quarter to turn a 12-point deficit after three into a 12-point win. Boston's plus 24 scoring margin matched the largest in any quarter in finals history and was the best in any fourth quarter. Kendrick Perkins, what went wrong for Golden State?
Well, everything went wrong for Golden State. Look, let me tell you what went wrong. What went wrong is, Molly, who they played in the Western Conference. And I'm not disrespecting anybody, but listen, the Western Conference is a weaker conference. We all know that the East is much better than the West. And so what happened was last night, guess what? It's just like a boxing match, okay? The Golden State Warriors, they came out and they threw a couple of hooks. They threw a couple straight rights, and they tried to knock them out. And what happened was the Boston Celtics took the punch and said, you know what? Hey, this is not too much for us. I got him. I done took his best shot. That's what boxers do. That's what the Celtics done. They saw that, you know what? The Golden State Warriors hit hard, but they don't knock you out. And so since they didn't knock them out, guess what happened? They gave the Boston Celtics more life and more hope and more belief. Now in game two, it's really going to be a problem because you took their best punch and now they have nothing else to throw at you. 21 points in the first quarter by Steph Curry. I mean, I don't know a harder punch or a straight right that's better than that.
Kendrick Perkins, I respectfully disagree with your point about you took their best punch. Because the reality of the situation is that we've seen Klay Thompson explode in a game 5 or a game 6, for example. I'm saying that when you talk about their best punch, there are other punches the Golden State Warriors can throw. Now, you don't have to shrivel up your face like that and act like you got the same kind of attitude these athletes have. You talking to your little big bro here, okay? So what I'm trying to say to you is just relax. All right, I agree where you coming from in terms of your props to the Boston Celtics. I'm just simply modifying that particular position. I don't think we can sit up there and say in all honesty, Kendrick Perkins, that was Golden State's best punch. We know that Golden State can play better. We know that they can do better. Now, the fact that they didn't do better, you can't credit the Boston Celtics. I ain't got no issue with that. But it doesn't mean that that's not something that the Golden State Warriors can overcome, because ultimately what it comes down to is your ability to make shots. And this is one of the elite shooting teams that we have seen. We know they've got the personnel to overcome the level of adversity. I will say this, though, Kendrick Perkins, to show how fair we both are. Are you sitting back for this one? I got something special for you, Kendrick Perkins. I got something special for you. I think it's either 1-7 or like 1-8. Golden State's record in games without Kevin Durant, postseason, in series rather, without Kevin Durant. It's something like that. I mean, I don't know. I got to look up the number again. But since Kevin Durant has departed, see how fair I am? Since Kevin Durant has departed from Golden State, they're having some problems. They're having some problems in the postseason. Just thought it would need to be said.
Yeah, they are, but Stephen A., let me explain something to you, okay? Usually when Golden State go up by 10 or 15 points, what's your natural reaction when you're watching the game?
They're going to win.
What you usually say? Be honest.
They're about to run them out of the
you
building.
Like it's
They're about
over,
to run them
right?
out of the building.
Yep. Especially at home. Any other team, we would have been like, it's over. They didn't go up by 10 to 15 one time. They was up by 10 to 15 on multiple occasions, twice, where they went up and Boston walked it down. See, here's the thing that I want to explain to you again about Klay Thompson and about Jordan Poole. See, we focus on Marcus Smart, and rightfully so, as being the defensive player of the year, okay? Give him all the credit. You know, he's going to guard Steph Curry. Steph Curry is going to win some of those battles because he's just that spectacular. When we talk about a top 15 greatest player of all time, that's knocking at the door of being the top 10 greatest player of all time. But when we talk about Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole, this is why I love Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum so much. Not what they bring on the offensive end, but them being 6'6", and Jason Tatum being 6'10", because he's legit 6'10" when you see him in person. Being athletic, being lengthy, long and size, and being able to move their feet. This is why I say Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson are going to struggle, Stephen A. They're going to struggle because Boston have multiple defenders that are capable of locking up at the wing position. Like, I'm hoping to see a better series so we can see, 7 games and watch some overtime games. But I don't know if that's going to happen. If Steph Curry don't even have the night that he had last night, this game ain't even close.
Let me say this to you, and I'm not throwing shade because, damn it, we all wrong, especially me when it comes to the NBA Finals because I get emotional and I think about the cities that I want to be in more than I think about the basketball team. So we know that my record ain't great with the NBA Finals. But I will say this to you. Let me throw a little shade on you respectfully. You've been wrong about the Boston Celtics before, but in all seriousness, let's analyze why. Because there have been a few occasions where the Boston Celtics team that you know and love didn't show up. So you keep thinking about what Golden State will do or hasn't done or may be incapable of doing. I'm saying I can point to a Boston Celtics team that looked lights out one game and then show up the next, and you like, who the hell are these guys? What the hell are they doing? Boston tends to do that from time to time. So let's take into account the fact that what we saw from Boston in Game 1, while lethal, and recognizing that if that continues, Golden State's going to lose this series, let's also understand that it's entirely plausible, especially when they go home, that the Boston Celtics might not resemble the team we know them to be. That is possible.
Oh, Stephen, no. And guess what? I don't disagree with you. I still have this series going 7. All I'm saying is what I told you the other day when I came on here earlier this week. My opinions are based on the facts, okay? When the facts change, guess what? My opinion changed. I think we all need to live by that. That's the perfect analogy. When the facts change, the opinions change. That's just what it is. But from what I saw last night, the Celtics are more athletic. They have more size, and I just don't see the Warriors overcoming that. I'm not saying they're gonna get swept. You know what the great Shaquille O'Neal used to say? He used to say when people try to guard him, you could get physical with me the first quarter, you could get physical with me in the second quarter, you could get physical with me in the third quarter, but guess what? When it comes to that fourth quarter, I got you, and you're going to be dead. So what happened?
Very important point to bring up. You're right. I get where you're coming from. I'm of the mindset that if Golden State could figure out 3 games on how to beat Boston, they could beat them a 4th game in the Game 7. So if Boston takes them out, I think it'll be in 6 instead of 7, or the 7th game at the Chase Center. Number 2, Shaquille O'Neal, there should be an arrest warrant for him. I want to bring this up. Did you see that? Did you see that ridiculous suit he had on yesterday? I mean, come on. Shaquille
I thought it looked good.
God, stop it. Stop it. Shaquille, he needs to take that suit and burn it in effigy. I don't want to hit that. Stop it. That suit that you too damn big, Shaquille O'Neal, have on that suit that he had on yesterday. I mean, it was not impressive. It was not. I'm calling Shaquille O'Neal out on national television. That suit, Lord have mercy, Molly, you should have seen it. If you ain't seen it, go back to the. I'm surprised we saw him on TV.
You told me so I could have got a clip of it.
The suit was so damn loud. I'm shocked we saw Shaq instead of the suit. I mean, it was one of those things straight out of Michael Irvin's closet. I'm telling you right now. It was straight out of Michael Irvin's closet, Molly. I said, what the hell is going on?
I'm Googling it right now.
Oh, Lord, wait till you see it, Molly.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Now, Molly, your neck is going to snap back when you see it, Molly.
No, you know what came up? You know what came up when I Googled Shaq's suit? He has his own suit line, so I can't even get a picture of it quick. I'll work on it during
that better not be one of them. That better not be one of them.
Well, see, that's the problem I have. What's wrong with the big fellas stepping out of their comfort zone every now and then, huh?
Hold on.
Just because they got to add a little bit more fat. What's wrong with that?
Can I answer the question?
Yeah.
Can I answer the question? Listen, Mr. Alcatraz, you don't get to say that how you just started the show. Don't even try it, okay? Don't even try it. You just did it to bring up the handcuffs. That's all. You know good and damn well you would be caught dead with that suit if you didn't have those handcuffs. That's number one. Number two, if you're going to be big like y'all are, right? 300 plus pounds, talk about big and sexy and all of this other stuff. At least had a decency to have a suit that's not made out of your damn tablecloth. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal, I'm trying to tell you right now, Molly, that suit that he wore yesterday,
okay, no
Uncle
more
Jerome and the crew, they laughing right
it.
now. They know what I'm saying. That damn suit, that damn suit that he had on, the only reason people said it was okay is because they work with him. That's my brother Shaq, my big brother. You know how much I love him. But my God, that suit that he wore yesterday,
I heard about Jason Tatum. I didn't hear about Shaq, but I will check it out right now. We got to get in a break. Coming up on First Take, King James joins the highly exclusive Billionaire Club. Huge congrats to him. An offer of more than $2 billion to buy the Blazers. They plan to remain aggressive in acquiring the team, sources telling ESPN. Stephen A., what do you think?
Well, damn, they represent half the players in the league anyway, so they might as well own a team. I mean, that was my initial reaction. But Phil Knight and Nike has been synonymous with the game of basketball for decades, and I have no problem with it. I know the Blazers said they're not up for sale, but Phil Knight and Nike, based out of Oregon, if they ended up getting the Blazers, I wouldn't mind it at all. I think it's good for basketball.
All right, speaking of the B word, LeBron James has made history again, joining the Billionaire Club. That, according to Forbes, huge congrats. King James is the first active NBA player to join that exclusive club. Although LeBron and the Lakers struggled this season, he did become the oldest player to average over 30 points per game in a season. Stephen A., can LeBron's brand afford to miss the playoffs again?
The LeBron brand transcends the game of basketball, so it's always going to be prolific in its own right. And let me just take a second to say major props to him. Continues to shine, continues to be a role model extraordinaire. For as much credit as he deserves for his exploits on the basketball court, what he has done off the court, in terms of what he's explored and ventured into, the people like Maverick Carter, Paul Rivera, Rich Paul, and others that he's had surround him, Adam Medelson and all of these guys, they simply do a phenomenal job. He's got a phenomenal team. And when you pick the right team and these guys go out and are as efficient as they have been, you just can't say enough about him. He's a role model in every sense of the word, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud to know him, the little bit that I do. He's just an incredible role model and an inspiration to so many people. I would tell you, having said all of that, when it comes to him missing the playoffs, in terms of him ascending and continuing on that trajectory, I think being relevant in the postseason helps everything. I think not being relevant in the postseason doesn't necessarily derail him. It just doesn't hold the same level of momentum. LeBron James is synonymous with winning. He's not the guy that you want to see sitting at home tweeting as opposed to being on the court participating. You understand that every year can't be a championship, but relevancy is an entirely different thing than championship. You might not win the championship every year. He's got 4, he's lost 6. But for the most part, he was in the playoffs pretty much all the time throughout his career, up until the last few years or so. And so what I'm saying to you, Kendrick Perkins, is sure, LeBron James is going to continue to shine. But when he's winning basketball games and he's relevant in the playoff and championship contention category, I think it goes a long way towards maintaining the trajectory that it's on, as opposed to stalling somewhat. He's never going to drop off. But in terms of that trajectory that he's on, I do think that he needs postseason participation.
You know what? And I don't disagree with you. And I know you and I had this debate once before, about a month ago. Does the playoffs miss LeBron James? And I said hell no, because of the rising young stars in the NBA and us getting the opportunity to see them. But I'm not going to even go that route today, Stephen A., because I want to appreciate LeBron James and give my brother props. You know, me and LeBron James go back since the 7th grade. 7th grade, when I was playing with the Houston Hoops and he was playing with the Ohio Shooting Stars. And every AAU tournament, we used to meet up in the championship, whether that was down there in Georgia at the Peach Jam or, you know, the Vegas tournaments, whatever it was, AAU Nationals. And I watched the growth of LeBron James from us going to ABCD camp, from us battling to see who was going to be the #1 spot until we got to the 10th grade, and he took over the #1 spot for us being the best player in the country. But I got to see a side of LeBron James growing up that nobody else saw. I witnessed a kid, a 16-year-old kid, young man, should I say, that was before his time. While we were sitting between AAU games playing with the Oakland Soldiers together, and I'm eating McDonald's in between 7 AAU games on a Saturday, this man was eating fruit. This man was drinking water. This man was going to sessions that he had set up, going to media training, now transitioning over into basketball. I remember when he got drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers, they have an interview out. He was 18 or 19 years of age, and he said right then, he said, I want to be the first billionaire. I want to be the first guy to reach $1 billion while playing the game of basketball. And damn it, he did it. And yes, he has a great circle of people around him. You name Mav, you name Randy, you name Rich Paul. But I'm going to give a shout out to Mama Gloria and my sister Savannah James. Savannah James been holding LeBron James down since the 10th or 11th grade, never trying to be all up on the scene, just being at home and being a wife to him and letting him be the best version of himself. This is a guy that has to leave practice and go to commercial shoots and then follow up, go take a nap, and get treatment around the clock. See, when you strive for greatness, it's a lot that goes into this. It's a lot of times that you're missing away from your family and your kids. So when I look at this guy, when I look at my brother LeBron, and I watch the path that he took, and I watch the intelligence and how strategic he moved, and how he's never been caught up in nonsense or BS, it's always us critiquing his game. It's never us critiquing anything else outside of basketball, because he don't give us a reason to. He don't give us a reason to. And so for him to reach this accomplishment is huge. It's big time. And what he has done is he has laid out the blueprint for the next generation. Now look, Stephen A. Molly, we talk about the guys, and I come on here and talk about the guys like the Ben Simmons of the world that I feel like are actually messing it up for the next generation when you go to when they come to the CBA, how the owners are going to say, I don't want to give you X amount of dollars. I'll tell you one person who haven't messed it up, LeBron James. And I just wanted to tell him that I appreciate him on national television, and I love him, and I watched his whole journey, and I just want to applaud him, his family, and everybody around him that's in his circle.
I echo those sentiments 1,000% because we all should have love for LeBron James. We all should appreciate him. The level of professionalism that this man has exhibited throughout his career is nothing short of phenomenal. And I've said this on many, many occasions, but the things that we have seen transpire, the things that we have lamented about the modern day athlete, it shifts gears when you talk about LeBron James. And it really encapsulates everything with this one statement. My God, are we going to miss him when he's gone? Because the example that he set, very, very few people seemed ill-equipped to follow. They may be it on the court or they may be it off the court. We don't see anybody that has it both put together the way that he is. And I love the fact that you brought up his mama and his wife, because they're two great women. And there's no bigger fan of Savannah than me, outside of her husband and children, of course. But she is absolutely a phenomenal woman. Behind every great man, as they say, is a great woman. And I should say behind, by his side. She is special. She really, really is. And that's what gives him the freedom to do it. That's right. That's what gives him the reason. That's what gives him the ability to focus on what he's focused on. Because she got everything else handled. Everything. She's phenomenal.
Absolutely. Huge congrats to the family. Yeah. We'll leave it there, guys. Still ahead on First Take, the reigning Super Bowl MVP. All right. Stephen A., as we're waiting on Cooper Kupp to join us, we're super excited to have the reigning MVP, Super Bowl MVP, joining us in just a moment. I'll ask you this, Stephen A. What are the chances you think the Rams repeat as Super Bowl champions and run it back?
Well, I think they got a shot, but I think it's by default, because I think as we scour the NFC conference, we got to look at things. First of all, you've got some issues in San Francisco with Deebo Samuels, plus their quarterback position. Who's going to be your quarterback? So you've got that going on. Seattle, Russell Wilson is no longer there. You look at Green Bay, you lost Devontae Adams and Valdez-Scantling as your wideout. So you've got some issues with the receivers there. Dallas is Dallas, okay? Cedric Wilson is gone. Amari Cooper is gone. Obviously, Gallup and CeeDee Lamb still are there. Philadelphia, you're hearing that they're coming on strong, but are they really there as of yet? Because there's question marks about Jalen Hurts. Of course, Tom Brady is still in Tampa.
I'm going to pause you.
No.
I'm going to pause you because I hear that we have Cooper Kupp. So let's bring him in right now. Cooper, there he is, comfortable at home. Cooper, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
I don't know if you heard what I just asked Stephen A., but that's where I'm going to pick up. I said to Stephen A., what are the chances this Rams squad, obviously you guys are loaded, have an incredible coach, are able to run it back? And, he said you guys have a shot. So I'll ask you this. What would be the determining factor, in your opinion, for you to repeat as champs?
Man, there's just so much that goes into a season, so much stuff that has to go right, so much stuff that can go wrong. So, for us, it's really about this process that we've established. Stacking blocks one day at a time, putting yourself in a position where, you're a better team. Instead, you come in week 1, can you be a better team in week 17 than you were when you came into the season? We're going to trust that process. It's not always a pretty thing. It's not always, it's not always 07 Patriots where you're just rolling through people. There's highs and lows, there's ebbs and flows to the season. We went through a November where we didn't win a game. So last year, so there's just being able to get through that stuff and trust the process and continue to stack blocks, move forward. That's going to be kind of our mantra.
My brother, I'm proud of you, man, because you big time. You had a big time year last year. You deserve all the praise and acclaim that you receive. And make sure you give my props to my brothers Aaron Donald and your coach, Sean McVay, because I think he did a hell of a job. I'm a huge, huge fan of his. But I got to ask you this question. Although I think I know the answer, far be it for me to assume that it was just the quarterback position. But I want you to answer for the public. As great as you are, how the hell did you go from 94 and 92 receptions, respectively, in the previous 2 seasons to 145 receptions last season? Could you tell us how that happened?
Yeah, well, the easy answer obviously is what you've touched on. Having Matthew Stafford come in and the player that he is. But I think it's a mixture of not only just the player that he is, but in terms of the way that a quarterback and a receiver see the game in the same way, when you've got guys that understand the game and see it in a similar way, and then also want to attack things and be able to spend the time to sync up and really be able to see the game through each other's eyes. I think that's what makes a huge difference. It's not just about him. It's not just about me. It's not just about our receiver room or what any of that is, but it's just being able to be on the same page. And because I didn't do anything different. I try to be a better football player from one year to the next. I didn't go and rewrite my training schedule or my training workouts. I didn't redo anything. It was just, I tried to just stack blocks a little at a time, a little better. And, as I've kind of gone through that, you get this opportunity to play with Matthew Stafford. And just in terms of us being able to see things the same way, I think that's really what allowed us to kind of elevate that, what that production ended up being.
Stafford to Cup has been seamless. And I think the change of scenery worked out well for everybody, including Matthew. I forget what he says in that commercial he has. I think life-changing. The decision was life-changing, right? You know what I'm talking about.
I've seen it about 40 times.
I know. It's a good commercial. He did a good job in that. I want to transition to another one of your teammates. Aaron Donald has obviously been in the news lately as he's waiting for that new deal. But he said he would be content retiring. Now, Sean McVay had said contract talks are trending in the right direction. What's the likelihood that 99 is back with you guys this season? Because we know what a playmaker he is.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what those odds are, what the likelihood is. I've been in contact with him and just, making it clear, obviously, I don't need to tell him that I want him back. I don't need to tell him that, hey, it would help us a ton. It would help me a ton. It would be great for us if the best defensive player maybe in history came and played again this season. So he doesn't need to hear that. He has his career. He's got his family. He's got stuff that he needs to take and make a decision for himself on this. I would obviously love to have him back. And being able to play with him has been an incredible honor. So I'm not sure what the odds are that he comes back. I obviously would love it if he were able to come back and be around with us again.
Well, before I ask you my next question, let me just give you a quick commentary in terms of Aaron Donald. I think he's the best in the world. I don't think he should just be the highest paid interior lineman. I think he should be the highest paid lineman in all of football by a mile because he's that lethal. I do want to hear him say he wants to play, though. He just wants his money as opposed to saying, I'm all right, I'm ready to retire. That worries me a little bit, but that's all. Having said that, let me come to you with this. Molly asked me this before you came on the set. I'm looking at the NFC conference. Russell Wilson's gone. San Francisco's got some issues. Tom Brady retired, then unretired. Dallas is Dallas. I'm not giving them any love. The Philadelphia Eagles are relevant, and the Green Bay Packers lost their top two receivers. I'm wondering, as you scour the NFC conference, are you guys of the belief we're the reigning Super Bowl champions, and there's some issues all around the conference? This is ours again to take.
Yeah, well, in all honesty, I think that's kind of the approach we take, regardless of the exodus that's kind of been seen out of the NFC into the AFC in terms of some of the talented players that have moved. But, for us, we live inside out. We judge ourselves, our expectations within our walls are going to be higher than anything from the outside. Our expectation year in and year out is to go win a Super Bowl, to be able to compete for that world championship, and that's our belief. So regardless of where those things are this year, that's kind of how we believe it. We go into each game believing we are the best team that steps on the field, and if we can just do what we do, if we can be the players that we believe that we are and execute to the best of our ability, we believe we're going to walk off that field with a W. So for us, it's not about really looking around the league as much as it is looking inward at who we are. And being the best versions of ourselves, and I think that's that allows us to kind of move forward. Not being a comparison thing, but just like, hey, let's be us. Go out week after week and play our game, and we believe we'll walk off that field with a W.
I love your humility, because when you look inwards and you say, let's just be us, that's the champions. I mean, that's what you guys are. You're the Super Bowl champions. I know you're not in the business, Cooper, of calling guys up and telling them how bad you want them. You said that with Aaron Donald, but Odell Beckham Jr. remains a free agent as well. How badly do you want the Rams to re-sign OBJ?
Man, that would just be the coolest thing. What he was for us last year, I guess I can speak on just as a player first. What he was able to do coming into this offense, learning it, and then being able to go and execute the way he did was absolutely incredible. But then just as a person, as a teammate, how he was, in our building, I would absolutely love nothing more than just to be able to have him come back and be a part of what we're building here. And it just hurts. I talk to him daily. Be able to keep up with him. Would love to have him back, and there's a lot of stuff that has to be worked through because of just how terrible is the unfortunate situation where he was
Injury.
he was going to have an unbelievable game that Super Bowl. The way that things were trending and just the way that the Bengals were playing against the game plan that we had in for him to be able to just go off that game. It kills me the way that whole thing worked out. But would absolutely love to have him back. And I know our receiver room, I know the guys across the board would love to have him back in our building.
Well, first of all, let me say this about Odell Beckham Jr., who I know a little bit. I'm so happy that you said what you said on a couple of levels. Number one, I thought he would have given you a run for your money for Super Bowl MVP because it was trending in that direction. That brother was about to put on a show. But number two, and more importantly, I'm glad you spoke about him the way that you did because Odell Beckham Jr. is a good brother. This brother cares. He goes out there. He puts in the work. He's a spectacular talent, and he's gotten too much shade thrown on him throughout the years. This is a good brother, and I'm really hoping that he re-signs with y'all because I think that's the perfect place for him to be because, like me, he does love L.A. Let's be very clear about that. Now, before I let you get on out of here, you're not just an elite football player. I know you're a sports fan. Talk to me about the NBA Finals for a second here and tell me who you got winning this series. Is it going to be Golden State or is it going to be Boston? Where you at with that, Cooper?
Man, I'll tell you what, the way that Boston played yesterday, the things that they did, I going into this series, I thought the way that the Warriors played, it was going to be a tough thing for them. Just the level of play the Warriors had, in the semifinals. But my goodness, watching Boston come out after such a hard-fought series and play the way they did, that's a special team right there. So I'm leaning towards Boston, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
We make picks.
I don't want to bet against Steph Curry.
We make picks on First Take, Cooper. You got to pick one, man. You got to pick one.
I'm gonna go Boston. I can't say all that, and I'm gonna go Boston. I can't say all that and not choose Boston.
Yeah, he's going Boston. Right. Cooper, I'll let you in. Stephen A. is very nervous right now because he's been really going hard for the Warriors. He's going to be really depressed if he's going on this. He's been like their #1 fan since the offseason. All right, Cooper, before we let you roll, please tell me about your partnership with Pat-A-Day.
Yeah, so Pat-A-Day, one state of the relief extra strength has just been starting for me. We get in this point in time, OTAs, I'm out here trying to grind, trying to get through the focus and concentration it takes to be the best version of me in these times. The worst thing is when you're dealing with all your allergies, itchy eyes, not being able to see, hard to catch a ball when you can't see. It's just been something that for me has been a huge help. So, in the morning, one drop knocks it out for 24 hours. Steven, I know you're allergic to the Cowboys. I can't help you with that.
Yeah.
But, if you want more information, you can go check out pataday.com and check it out. I don't think they can help you, but you can go take a look.
Yeah. Ain't no help for me with the Cowboy fans. It's not the Cowboys, it's their fans. It's their fans that I can't stand. I love L.A. fans, though. I love L.A. What can I say?
I do, too.
What can I say? Yes, I'm sure you do.
What's not to love? All right, Cooper, thank you. I have horrible allergies, so I will check out Pat-A-Day. I will check it all out in the one drop, because if that can get me right in the morning, I'm with it. Thank you so much for being with us, and come join us anytime. Best of luck this upcoming season if we don't talk to you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Okay. Still to come on First Take, Stephen A. has been on the Warriors bandwagon, as I just told